All right, so we got this F-150 in here, and I want to show you the product. Obviously, you already clicked the video, so we're going to jump right into it. But the problem that you have, and the reason why you need to run these wheel spacers, is I'm always trying to put factory wheels on a truck. I don't like the look of aftermarket wheels. I prefer factory rims, but when you're putting factory rims with mud tires on a truck, you've got to get that tire off the control arm. Now, on this F-150 out here, this is 35, 12, 50, 18. I think it is, Nitto Mud Grapplers. Yeah, so 35, 12, 50s. All this took is a little 1/4 inch spacer. See that? Little 1/4 inch spacer, and that got these things where they're pretty decent off the control arm. But this one in here is an 18, and it has a 6-inch lift on it with 37, 1350 20s on it, and I couldn't even get the wheels on there. So I crammed in temporarily 2 spacers. I'll show you what I got in there, but this is not safe to drive. 2 spacers crammed in there, but there's not a lot of engagement on the lug nuts, so that's not safe to drive like that. That's what I needed just to drive this, move this vehicle around. You can see we got the spacing off of that, but again, that's not safe. So I called our friends up, hit them up, and I said, hey, need your help. Send me some wheel spacers. So these are going to be the wheel spacers that Evil Energy sent over to us. These things are absolutely phenomenal. They even put plastic caps on them so they don't get messed up in the mail, which is a nice touch, because they're going to be for the 6135, which is the bolt pattern of the F-150. And we're doing a 1.5 inch because I think from my research that we're not going to have to cut the studs on the 1.5 inch with the factory wheels. We'll see here in a minute though. Let's get the wheel taken off and I'll show you how these things go on. Now these things are made out of 6061 aircraft aluminum, which is very good stuff. That's definitely something you want to look for. And then also your thread size. So what happens with these is that this right here matches the same size as the truck, because these actually come off and go on the truck. So you have to have spacers that the stud matches the thread on the truck to make it easy. If not, you're gonna need a different set of lug nuts. These come off and these will go on the truck like that. So your truck's lug nuts will go on here. And just make sure that they're made for your vehicle and they are the correct size. These are also coated, which I like about this. If you ever seen the nasty cheaper ones that are not coated, they corrode and they just look like crap. So it's nice to go with a company that also has a coating over them, a finish to them, because they're just gonna look better overall, and your vehicle's not gonna look like crap so fast. So this is what I had done. This is a huge no-no. Again, this was just to move the vehicle around. I bought this vehicle wrecked in another video on this channel, and to make sure it drove and everything after we put the tires on it. This is the correct way. So put you some spacers on there. So this is going to be hub-centric, meaning that this piece inside here is machined out so that it lines up on there. Now, these lug nuts are also going to center this thing up, being they are tapered. When they're tapered, the piece is, or the billet piece of aluminum wheel spacer is tapered in there, and as you tighten these lug nuts down, the taper on them is also going to pull it centered. So this is going to center everything up. Hub-centric is a nice thing that keeps down vibrations, everything. And after we install this, I'll take you for a drive and we'll see if this thing has any vibrations or shakes. Also with the 1.5 inch, you can see that we cannot see our stud, meaning you don't have to cut your wheel studs down. You can leave your factory wheel studs just like they are. And as you can see, these are correct for this vehicle. They screw right on. We'll tighten these down and we'll throw the wheel back on, get all of them on, and we'll see how these things work. Now on these, you can torque these down to the proper specs. I'll try to find the torque listing and put it across the bottom of the screen right here for you. I don't torque my stuff down, never have, never will when it comes to wheels. I just hit it really good with the impact. Same thing when I put the tire on with the lug nuts, I just impact them down really good. But if you want to take the time to do your torque with your torque wrench, you can go ahead and do that. When those go on, so when the wheel goes on, it's really a tight fit. That means they have got their machining down 100% pat. Probably a little bit of grime inside my rim. If you want to take the rim off and on the backside, take a little piece of sandpaper and clean up the inside of that hub. If you're having a problem with yours going on, you can definitely do that. We're gonna get the other 3 on and then see how this thing rides. If you're having a problem when you're seated up, this would be the inside of the rim that you would need to check right in here to make sure there's not corrosion or buildup or anything that could keep it not sitting up. Mine are fine. Now they do recommend in their notes right here for the maintenance that after the first 50 to 100 miles, it may get loose and you probably want to stop and recheck them. They also want you to check them every 3,000 to 5,000 miles, which is about an oil change. So if you want to pull your wheels off and check them about that, you can. In my professional opinion, this is more of just all of these companies covering their butts. Is it smart to check to see if bolts are tight? Of course, common sense will tell you that. Do most people check to see if they're tight every 3,000, 5,000 miles? No, they don't. But if you can, you should. All right, let's take this thing for a test drive. We're gonna have to deal with this dinging. It's saying the trailer's connected and trailer's disconnecting. I just bought this truck. Somebody put some funky taillights in it and I think they've messed the wiring up. So that's next on our agenda. These things look good though. They have a nice profile off the side of the truck, you can see. So they definitely look good on these trucks. If you're worried about rocks and stuff, then you're probably gonna wanna add some fender flares. This truck did have fender flares on it and I took them off because I don't like fender flares either. So let's see how this thing rides. And I went ahead and I did test drive it before. That's when I put them 2 little spacers on here, which is only 1/2 inch. Just enough test drive it to make sure we didn't have any vibration or shakes. That way, whenever I drive it with the spacers, if it develops, vibrates and shakes, then I know that the spacers caused it, not the wheels and tires. So you have to also pay attention that if you do put spacers on and new wheels and tires at the same exact time, make sure that if you get vibrations, don't just blame it on the spacers. It could be your actual wheels and tires. So right now we have nothing. I mean, this thing is freaking smooth. No steering wheel shake, no vibration. That's 45 normally, which is a little bit off because these are 37s. Normally we're pulling a little bit, probably need alignment. But absolutely no steering wheel shake at all. Smooth as freaking butter. Huge shout out to Evil Energy. This is not my first time working with this company. This company did not contact me for these wheel spacers. I contacted them. So a lot of companies will reach out to YouTubers and want YouTubers to push their product. That is not the case with this. Evil Energy was not looking for me to push their product at all. I've reached out to them and simply told them that I needed some wheel spacers and that I would love to run theirs on the vehicle if they want to send me a set. And that is exactly what they did. Definitely got some rub with these things though. Even with the 6-inch lift with the 37s and the spacers, I got a little bit of plastic rub, it sounds like, on the front valence. So we will have to trim that up just a little bit when we get back to the shop. All of the stuff that you need to know is going to be in the description. There's going to be a link, and go check them out. We've used them on my race car in the past for their lines and stuff like that. I've had 0 issues out of this company. So far, been very happy with them and plan to continue to use them as much as I can for all of our builds on this channel. All right, so that's what it looks like with the wheel spacers. I think these things are perfect. I think 1.5 is perfect on these trucks. I think they put them out just enough where they look good. These tail lights are coming off, they're hideous. I think that looks freaking good.